Are you looking for the right heroes to level up and build? Maybe you're looking for the best defensive teams for Arena, Grand Arena, Clash of Worlds, Guild Wars. Well, today we're going to look at a tool that a member of the community has built to help you with your decision-making process.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
What is up, heroes of Dominion? My name is Charlie. This is Hero War Central, and in today's video, I want to talk about a new tool. It's not new, it's been around for a little while. It's a guide to arena defenses from the player Taro from the official Hero Wars Discord, the best Hero Wars teams, and here we go. So there are some issues with this. I do have some problems with this database. We'll talk about them as we go. The first and foremost, this is only showing defenses. It's also not showing pets. It's also not showing war flags. So what Taro has done here is they've gone to every single server on Hero Wars Dominion Era on web, not on Facebook. It's an important distinction, but only very slightly, and tracked the number of teams on defense in the arena. I believe just the top 10. Yeah, to restrict to only top 10 teams, puts in, yeah, 10. So you can see that the number one most popular team on defense in the arena on all of Hero Wars Dominion Era web is this Galahad, Lyria, Tristan team. You got the Dante, Nebula, Orion team, so on and so on and so on. These are the top 10 teams as far as popularity on defense on Hero Wars Dominion Era on web. Makes sense. So how can we use this? Well, if you are thinking about building a team, is my team good? That's the question that you're trying to get answered for yourself. Should I level up Judge? Should I level up Zhu? If your main focus is player versus player, this is a tool you can use to find out how effective you're going to be against some of the most popular defenses. You're very likely to see these teams in Guild War and in Clash of Worlds on defense as well. So it's going to be a nice exercise. So for example, the number one ranked team here, Galahad, Lyria, Tristan, Sebastian, Lara Croft with Axel. Now, again, no pets here, and there aren't any flags or patterns shown, but we can kind of get a feel for it. So you might want to say, oh, you know what? I want to see if my Qing Mao team can beat that team, right? And we're just going to run it. You go into combat training. You go into combat training. Well, actually, let me take a step back here. You go into combat training right here, create hero battle, set this to max. You want to assume your opponent has the most resources, the maxed out possible. That in itself is a little bit of an asterisk, a caveat, because you could have under-leveled teams on defense, skills that aren't leveled up. But generally speaking, everybody that you're going to go up against at the high level is going to be maxed out, right? So then you choose the your current. You can leave that there, or you can change this to max if you're thinking about leveling up a hero. And then you just put the heroes in that you want. And I know for certain what war flag is commonly used with, well, the war flag that I think a lot of people consider to use with this line, here we go, is the war flag of Swift Warriors, right? And then you want to use the physical attack pattern for the breakpoints with Sebastian. There's some nuances here, but we're going to do armor penetration and I think magic defense as well. We're going to make sure that the pets are correct. This should be, yep, that's right. And then Fenris, Albus, and then Vex. I think this is generally expected, but you can play with this as well. So then you can assemble an attack team, and you can, well, actually, let's change this to current, because I'm going to use my current levels. And yeah, then you just attack into it with a team that you think that you want, that you want to try to see how effective it is. So in this case, I'm going to try out my Electra, Amira, Heidi team. I got a lot of questions about this team. When do I use Iris? When do I use Polaris? A lot of nuances to, choosing Heidi over other heroes. I'm going to use Aiden Dorian. I like the double heals here. So the way that I generally look at this, and this is just a small aside for team building for this particular team, if I can get away with using Merlin as a team pet, then I'm going to, because Merlin plus Electra, she does a lot of damage to that front line right there. I'm going to use Merlin. And the thing about the war flag of the Vanguard, it allows me actually to use Merlin instead of like Axel or something like that. I'm not really too worried about Lara Croft here, stunning, but if I see Lara Croft and Fafnir, like two stunners or two control heroes, then I'll switch this to Chorus, and then I'll use, instead of Heidi, I'll use Iris or Polaris, depending on the rest of the team. I hope that clears it up. Just a little team building strategy there. But since I don't have to, Since I don't have but one stunner here in Lara Croft, I am going to stick with the Pat Merlin, and I think everything else is, oh, this needs to be Chorus, and this needs to be Albus. So now I can test. Now I can test this team against the number one most popular team in Arena. Now, while this fight, see, yeah, top 10, right? While this fight is progressing, I want to talk about the other issues that I have with this tool. And not to knock Taro, it's very hard work. It's very tedious work, in my opinion, if it's done manually, which I believe they actually do go to every single server and check the stats manually. So my problem is the reward time for players is different, right? Mine is like 8 p.m. or whatever it is, Central Time. Yours might be 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Somebody else's might be 8 p.m. in Russia, right? The best teams on defense in the top 10 change dramatically at reward time. So unless you're checking these teams once an hour all day long, you're not going to, in my opinion, get a more accurate screenshot or snapshot or whatever of the situation. Do I think that it's still pretty close and close enough? Yeah, and I think it's close enough to be fine. Like, there's no argument at all that these teams, most of these teams, are definitely the most popular teams that you're going to see on defense. Not in Clash of Worlds, though. The other issue that I have with this tool, and it's specifically talking about how this is arena defense. So let's be clear that we're not trying to hide the fact that this is going to be the most popular teams on defense forever. But in Clash of Worlds, you have some differences. Okay, so at one, looks like it's 50-50. Not a great use case there, but that's okay. That's okay. That's the point of testing, right? In Clash of Worlds, you have these fortifications that add changes to the team makeup. So, for example, in the shooting range, you're incentivized to put more marksman heroes on your team in the shooting range. So that kind of flies in the face of the popular team. Now, you could say, well, the most popular team with a marksman is this team number 2 right here with Dante, and you should theoretically see nothing but Dante, Nebula, Orion, Augustus teams in this section. But it's not that simple. Like, there's a lot of nuances. The Alchemy Tower, the City Hall, the Bastion, the Citadel. There's a lot of nuances with Clash of Worlds. So, you might see a lot of the same popular arena defenses on the Clash of Worlds, but you're very likely to see some weird combinations as well. There's strategies about getting people to use up their Sebastian early, using up their Lyria and their Isaac early, all kinds of stuff like that. So this I've got linked on my blog, HeroWarsCentral.com, right here on the Heroes tab, the best Hero Wars teams, and I think you're going to find it useful if you're trying to answer the question, what is, should I level this team? Is that a good team? How good is this team? Well, this is the most popular teams on defense right now. And I'm not sure, again, the last criticism that I have of this tool is I don't really know how frequently this is updated. I don't know if it's once per week, once per day. I'm sure that it's probably, I don't know. It just says popular right now. Yeah, I don't know how often it's updated, but still very, very useful to take a look at. If this hasn't changed in, in a month, then obviously this video is bad video to make, but whatever. So thanks again to Taro from the official Hero Wars Discord for, sharing this around. I think it's very useful for new players trying to find a team to counter the meta, or what is the meta to build. Well, you're looking at it. These are the top 10 teams on defense in the arena. I love you all. Good luck in Dominion.